So I've just been improvising there in the key of C major over a C major chord progression, which is the task from the Rockschool Improvisation exam syllabus. So before you have an attempt at this, I'm assuming you've had a look at my other two videos on this. So I've explained what is improvisation. I've also explained using the C major scale to improvise. I'll put the links to those below. So make sure you're okay with that and you're comfortable playing the C major scale. So if all that's okay, what have I just been doing? So the backing track I've been using is the one that's been specified by the syllabus. It's a 4-chord progression, so it's 4 bars, 1 chord per bar. It starts with a C, then a D minor, a G and a C. Don't be confused about the fact there's a D minor chord in there when we're playing in major. There's a bit of theory involved, but just trust me for now, that's a major progression. The major C scale works over it. So all I've been doing, I was literally just making that up on the fly. I've got no music in front of me. I've not prepared anything to play that. I've just been playing whatever notes come to mind in my head as I've been listening to the chord backing track. And that's what you're going to be asked to do. In advance of doing the exam, and this is why practice is important, I strongly recommend that you have a go at doing this a few times and just get an idea of how it feels to improvise when you've got no music in front of you, and also developing your ear a little bit, because you'll find that some of the notes that you'll play in the C major scale will sound more pleasant, sound better. That's a bit of a subjective thing, but some do sound better than others depending on which of those chords that you're playing over. That's something you'll just have to probably pick up by experience and by feel. All of the notes in the scale, the entire C major scale, all of those notes are technically correct over all of those chords, so you're not going to play a wrong note. So as long as you stick to those notes in that scale, you'll be absolutely fine technically, and you'll be in tune and in key. So there's no, you can't play a wrong note, but amongst those right notes, some of them will sound better. By that I mean, I talked about the chord progression being a C, D minor, G, and back to a C. So if we just take those chords to begin with, pretty much I know from my own experience, but you can try this, have a go at this to get you started off if if you're really struggling, you've no idea how to get started on this exercise. First chord is a C. If I play a C note over that C, it's guaranteed to sound okay. So if I play the C chord, the C note, will always sound fine over that because it's the root note of the chord. Same with the D minor. Play a D note over that, that'll always sound fine. And with the G, I can play a G note and that'll sound fine. So to give you an example of that, I'll play the progression, I'll put the backing track on again, I'll just play those root notes just so we can have a starting point from that. That's a C, a D, that's the G chord, and back to a C. And the C chord, and the D minor chord, the G, I'll use the other C. So just to start off with there, I'm just copying the root notes of the chords, so my C, my D, even though it's a minor, a G and a C, and you've just seen that those notes fit fine over those chords. The other ones do as well, and some sound better than others. The way that I was playing at the start, I was trying to use all of the notes in the scale just to show you that they do all fit. I've not put any preparation into learning anything there. It's not a fantastic melody or anything like that, but what you'll find is that by practicing over that progression, you'll start to hear things that you're playing that sound better than other things. I think I did maybe a couple of little hammer-ons, pull-offs in that. Nothing more complicated than that. I was just trying to add a little bit of flavour into it. So the more that you play over it, and that's the key, is spending some time playing over the progression and getting to learn for yourself which bits sound good and which bits sound bad. So again, start the progression. Any of the notes I can play. Little slide there. I'm just playing random notes that just probably not even come into my head. I'm just moving my fingers around that scale. So another key thing to remember, I think I did mention in the second video, the previous video, is don't just play the scale up and down as you learned it in the other exercise, because whilst he's playing the correct notes, there's no creativity there, and in this particular task the examiner is looking for a little bit of creativity. So we're going to play the notes in a different order from what you've learned them in the scale. So we're not just going to go straight up and down the scale like that, because we're just repeating the scale there. We're not getting the creativity in there. I've noticed on the backing materials for this exercise for Rockschool, they do provide a backing track, which obviously you will have if you've got the book or you've got the online subscription. The version that I've got, I don't know if there's a better version, but the only one that I've got seems to be like just 2 bars repeat of this, and then it stops. So I've got to keep playing the backing track again. I can practice for 2 bars, 2 repetitions of the chord progression, and then it stops. So I've got to start again. I started using that and I found it was a little bit interruptive to actually practicing the flow, because once I start doing it, you'll find the same. It's a good idea just to be able to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going a little bit longer than that, because once you get a feel for something, you've got to start the backing track again, so you've got to go back to your phone or whatever, press play again, rewind it, blah blah blah. So I found that distractive. So for that reason, and as well as for copyright reasons, because I can't share that backing track with you, I decided to create my own backing track. So it's identical, it's the same tempo, it's the same chords, and I've just played the progression. I've recorded that at, I think it was 65 BPM, little basic drum track over the back, what you've just heard, and I've recorded that as an MP3 that plays out for about 5 or 5.5 minutes. So you can play that. I'll share it in a link like I've done with the song sheets I provided. So I suggest you download that, so you can have a better practice time. So you can spend 5 minutes at a time practicing it before you have to go and reset it. So I hope this is useful for you in preparing for the exam, and have fun, because once you start getting the grasp of it, getting the hang of it, improvising, it is quite a lot of fun. As well as being able to cover the tasks that's needed of you here, it opens up a lot of doors for you in being able to play along to backing tracks just for fun, and also being able to play along with another guitar player or another musician. If I had a friend sat here now playing the chords along, sorry, D minor next, then me G, then me C, playing the chord progression, I could happily twiddle away until we both get bored doing that. So it's a great technique to learn, and make sure that you're not just playing up and down the scale. Good luck.